Good evening. My name is Reverend Karen, and I would like to thank everyone for taking part in the quiet energy work portion of our service. Your cooperation in building and creating this sacred space is greatly appreciated. Let us start off with 3 ohms just to set the tone. Please open to the front page of your book and we will say together the universal greeting. If this is new to you, please watch the service workers up front and follow along with the interactive hand motions. I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I hear your needs. I see your beauty. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Let us work together.
Robert Duck was laughing too.
Please turn to the next page and we will say together the 9 principles of spiritualism. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and the personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Whatsoever ye would do unto others, let's just start that one again. Whatever ye would that others to you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in all sacred texts are divine attributes proven through mediumship. All right, so next we will have an inspired talk about tonight's meditation by me. So the title of tonight's meditation is Riding the Tiger. This will be a meditation dedicated to Durga. Durga is one of the goddesses in the Indian pantheon, who is, some have compared her to the crone in Celtic mythology, but she's very much a protectress goddess. She is, but she's not the one you call when you go, oh, no, when you call in Durga, you're calling in Durga. This is the big guns. And her animal that she rides is a tiger. So tonight's meditation is going to focus on calling in that Durga energy to break past some issue you're having. All right. Okay. We welcome your donations to help maintain our presence in the community. You may donate via our website, www.circleoflightstl.org, or through our Facebook page. All right. And we do thank you for your donations, and all funds received help us in our mission to seek, develop, and teach the knowledge of the relationship between humanity and spirit. The crystal globe here on our altar is filled with prayers and energy for healing Mother Earth and all of her children. Everyone is welcome to contribute their prayers for world peace and world healing. We invite you to add your energies to this sacred sharing. We will now say the prayer for universal healing, which is found on the next page of your book, after which there will be a short silence for you to add any names of people or places that you wish to receive extra healing this week. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask the great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. All right, current announcements. The only really important things I know of coming up are next Sunday is our monthly business meeting, after which we'll probably be making several announcements about dates and times of upcoming events. Okay. So once again, we thank you for your donations. Please join me in a prayer over the offerings. Father, Mother, God, guides and teachers, thank you for bringing in prosperity on all the planes and letting us bring in that prosperity, gather it together, and send it back out into the world where it may do the most good. So mote it be. All right. Now we come to the message portion of our service. Please actively listen to each message. As these come from universal source via our guides, they may be tailored to one person, but they deliver wisdom to the whole. Please address any questions you have after the service to the message bearer. To welcome each of our spirit workers, we sing together. I'm already getting warm. We sing together to increase the vibrations in our circle. We view the word God as a term for universal deity rather than one specific traditional path. I will be our message bearer tonight, so please let us open to and sing In the Garden, verses 1 and 2. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And she walks with me, and she talks with me, and she tells me I am her own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, the birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And she walks with me, and she talks with me, and she tells me I am her own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Okay. Nancy. Okay, Nancy, the image my guides are showing me is of, well, at first it was just the bottom half of a hourglass. However, even though there's sand constantly coming in from the top, the little hill of sand isn't getting any higher. And so my guide said, yeah, back up a little bit. And what I see is the sand going down the sides of the hill and then back up through an outer tube and back down into it. And so even though an hourglass is very much a representation of time, and linear time at that, my guides are wanting me to let you know that, yes, sometimes we are on the clock, but sometimes you get that, you have all the time you need. But the hourglass isn't going to run out until you're done. Okay. Karen. Okay, Karen, they are showing me a wall shelf, and it's got little jars on it, and the jars are getting progressively taller as it goes along the shelf. And they're not labeled, but they have various colors in them. And yeah, they're not in any particular order except the size of the jar. And my guides are saying sometimes we get so focused on colors and how colors match the chakras that we start sorting stones. We sort all of these things into color categories exactly the way they are, you know, that Roy G. Biv order of the spectrum. However, my guides are suggesting that sometimes you need to sort your resources by how much of them you have. You know, maybe the red is very important, but you don't have a lot of it, so you need to conserve it. So they're saying don't always stick with the same order when it comes to how you organize your resources. All right, William. Okay, William. So the first thing they showed me was one of those big old fashioned, like, you know, the colonial wigs that they're always showing judges and magistrates wearing in movies about, you know, the revolution and stuff like that. Except this one's on a wig stand, and you're standing there looking at it going, but I didn't want to be a judge today. And my guides are saying, well, sometimes you do have to take on a mantle of responsibility and become a judge, but it's your choice when to employ that skill and that discernment and when it's not needed. So if you don't have to take on that mantle every day, only when you need it. Would you like a message? Okay, so what I'm being shown is like a mineralized hot springs, kind of like you see in Yellowstone. But this one is all colors you think of like a peacock, the blues, the turquoise, the purples. And oh, did I mention that? And they're even showing a peacock coming out of that. Like, you know, you think of a phoenix coming out of fire. Well, this is a peacock coming out of this water. And they're saying that the fact it's water and those colors are important, that you've got something you're trying to create, and those colors will be very, very important. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm being shown I think they're now calling them Edison bulbs, the very clear light bulb sitting in a big stand. And it's off, and then you reach over and you turn it on. And my guides are saying, they always show you the image of, somebody getting an idea and the little light bulb comes on over your head. You can turn the ideas on yourself. You don't have to wait for inspiration. You can go out and seek that inspiration yourself. Okay. Okay. So at first I thought I was being shown a square, but then they pull back and it's a cube. And they're just showing me examples of, so many things, especially in the spiritual world, come in fours. The 4 elements, the 4 gospels, the 4 directions, just 4. And so if you're trying to organize something in your spiritual studies, they're saying use the all dependable, use the system of 4s. Okay. Oh. Okay, Sandy. Okay, Sandy. So I'm being shown a series of mountain peaks. But what they're really emphasizing is, even though there's these mountain ranges that frequently represent an obstacle or something that you have a journey and you have to get past the mountains. But in this case, they're showing me that every single one of these mountain ranges has a big old V in it, an easily accessible pass. You just have to choose the right road to aim you for the easy pass in between it. So if you've got something that's feeling like that insurmountable mountain of an obstacle, just kind of step back, look at your map, look at your plan, and you should be able to find that easy pass through the mountains. All right. Tammy. Okay, so Tammy, I'm being shown an Aladdin's lamp. And smoke is starting to come out of it, like the genie's coming out of it. But when that genie comes out of it, it's you. And what my guides are telling me is that sometimes we wait and we wait for that wish to be fulfilled. When I win the lottery, this is my dream. But sometimes we can be our own wish-fulfilling genie by daring to set our resources and structure them in such a way that maybe we won't reach that dream today, but if we can build our own pathway to fulfilling our dreams. Okay, anybody else online? No? Thank you for allowing me to stand between the worlds. Whew. Okay. And now we come to the meditation for tonight, which will be led by me. All right. So tonight's meditation, as I said, is riding the tiger with Durga. All right. Assume a comfortable position with arms and legs uncrossed. And as you settle into the comfortable position, take in some deep breaths in and out. And as you continue to take these deep cleansing breaths in and out, you breathe in the energy that is around us, and you breathe out your cares and responsibilities. You continue breathing in and out, and you let your arms and legs soften as the tenseness runs out of them. And as you enter that state of relaxation, you turn your gaze inward to that inner temple where you do your work and your dream work. And tonight, your inner temple is decorated very plainly, for it is not the final destination. You see before you an archway that leads out to a marbled courtyard. There's a fountain in the courtyard, and in the distance you hear the sounds that we think of as the jungle. And as you look around, you notice that even though at first this temple seemed new, it's actually very old. And you see vines growing around some of the pillars. And it's actually open to air at some portions of the roofs, but it still has that air of sanctity. And as you examine it further, you find that there are some tame animals that you normally would find out in the jungle. There are some monkeys and other creatures. And you find a lovely bench. It just seems very welcoming, and you sit down. And as you sit there, you start to think of things that are currently blocking your way, things that are obstacles. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a task. It might even be something that you wish to get rid of or distance yourself from because you don't feel safe around it. And as you sit there, you realize that coming in through one of the other archways is a woman. At first you think she is an old woman, but then you also see her as a young woman. And as she walks in, you also notice that she is accompanied by a tigress. Her dark hair streams about her shoulders, and she wears a golden crown and necklaces and rings and bracelets. She is wearing clothing of red and gold silk. In her arms, which you can see the muscles and the strength, she is carrying weapons. She is carrying her bow, her sword, her trident and mace. But you also see that she is carrying a lotus of peace. As you acknowledge her presence, she acknowledges yours and asks, "What can I do for you tonight, my child? How may I guide you in your task?" And as you tell her your problems, she brings over the tiger who lays down in front of you. And as you continue to describe the obstacles and problems, you find yourself petting this very large, very powerful tiger. And as you get to the end of your description, she explains to you that you have the ability to overcome all of these obstacles. But what you need is courage. And she invites you to take a seat upon the back of her tiger. Now, as we all know, riding the tiger is kind of a symbol of doing something crazy and out of control. But she assures you that this is necessary. And as you very carefully and gingerly take your place on the back of the tiger suddenly leaps up and begins to run. And while you feel for the first few minutes like, yep, I'm falling off, this is happening, I'm going to fall off, you realize that you're not. And as this ride becomes more and more secure, and you realize you're not going to fall off of this special tiger of the goddess, you look down and realize that in your multiple hands, you are now holding some of her weapons. And as you continue to ride, you realize that the reason you are staying on this tiger is that you are being given an aspect of Durga to carry with you. And as you continue this ride, you discover that you are being presented with representations of those things that you wish to rid your life of, or obstacles you're needing to overcome. And you find yourself using these weapons of Durga to rid yourself of those targets. And as you begin to realize that you've taken these targets out, you realize that the tiger has circled around and is bringing you back to her temple. And as the tigress enters back into the temple, you find yourself becoming yourself again. And as she brings you back to Durga's feet, you find yourself dismounting off the tiger. And Durga smiles at you and just reminds you that this is an aspect that you can take on when you need her energy to help create those protections, to help break down those barriers, to get rid of those obstacles. And that you only need remember your wonderful, scary ride on this tiger to grab that courage again. That courage, which is what you needed to help overcome those obstacles. And as you take all of these lessons and tuck them away, Durga and her tiger leave the temple together, and she rides off to aid someone else. And you walk back into your inner temple, and you discover that you now have a statue or a wall hanging or some representation of Durga. And you understand that she and that energy she represents is always available. And you take a few deep breaths And you begin to turn your gaze outward to your physical body, outward to the here and now. And you begin to settle into your body, and you feel your arms and your legs. And you take some deep breaths in and out as you settle in. And when you are ready, open your eyes. All right. Join me in a closing prayer. Father, Mother God, higher beings, guides, and teachers, thank you for bringing us together today, and thank you for allowing us to take this journey and this ride. And help us to remember these lessons and take them out with us into our everyday life so that we may have the courage to ride the tiger whenever we need to. So mote it be. Well, thank you for joining us in our Circle of Light. Please stand and join us as we sing, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Okay. Oh, my Lord Jesus. I'm glad I came. For one minute.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, our peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And hug it in love. Calling you in for a woman.